Podcasting from Phoenix, Arizona. You're now listening to The Get Down with your host, JD and Vince.
Good morning, everyone. This is your host, JD and Vince. We have a special guest in the building today, Sandy McKee. Welcome to the show, and thanks for coming today.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Welcome. Can you give us a little background about yourself? I know you're a well-known vegan. Well-educated. You graduated from ASU with your BS in nutrition, communication, and minored in global health. Mm-hmm. And you have a master's in public health from Argosy University. Give us a little background about you. You've been a vegan for...
I have been a vegan. In December, it will be 14 years.
14 years.
Wow. And I was a vegetarian for 10 years before that. So
wow.
I've been for 24 years. I've been a vegetarian.
So when was the age you knew you were going to be a vegetarian? You were done with.
So I became a vegetarian because I went to San Francisco to visit my grandmother over the summer. So I spent 2 or 3 weeks there, and I watched a documentary on where food comes from.
Okay.
I came home and I was like, never again.
And that was it.
And that was it. It took me a little while. I had to go on a hunger strike because my mom thought I was crazy and that I was going to die. Because my mom's a nurse, and kind of conventional wisdom is, oh my God, you're a vegetarian, you're going to die.
And then you have to be on all these pills. You got to take all these shots and all that stuff.
Yep.
The general kind of.
And so I went on a hunger strike, and I was like, this is what I'm doing, and if you don't like it, tough. But it was a process, it took a couple of years really to get my family on board and to be able to do it the right way. But
so what age was that whenever you came?
I was 12 years old.
Wow.
That's young to know that you were hey, I'm...
To commit to it, too.
Yeah, I'm a vegetarian. So then after vegetarian, you spent, 10 years being a vegetarian?
Yeah.
Then when did you feel like being vegan was... Obviously you did it before it was hyped.
Oh, yeah, there was nothing. I lived on cheese pizza and bean burritos for 10 years. There were no choices.
Okay.
There was nothing. There were some really terrible veggie burgers.
Yeah, I bet.
But no, there was nothing like there is now. No, what's funny is that I kind of subscribed to the conventional wisdom when I was young. And I was like, I don't understand these vegans. They're crazy. What are they doing? Mm-hmm. Crazy vegans. Don't eat cheese.
Yeah.
And, it's... I was probably 20... Yeah, it was probably when I was 21, 22. And I realized, after doing some animal activism and things like that, I really started educating myself about the suffering that's involved with the dairy industry and eggs and, things like that. And because I became a vegetarian for ethical reasons and not for health or dietary reasons, it was really important to me to understand, the ethics and the reality of things surrounding animals and how they're treated and, all that kind of stuff. So it was really important to me, and it just seemed like the next logical step. But it took me a really long time to be able to let go of cheese. And everybody that I know.
Because we can be honest, vegan cheese is pretty nasty.
Some of it is, yeah. I have been very fortunate to have found really, really great vegan cheese.
So I gotta talk to you because I try to put vegan cheese on a quesadilla and it wouldn't melt. I was like, what is this plastic that I'm eating? So you said that, you looked into the way animals were being treated and everything. Mm-hmm. Do you think if they were to, say, I know this is harsh, but slaughter them in a different way where the animal was not in pain or knowing that he was going to get slaughtered or other animals could see it, would you be okay with people kind of eating meat more?
So that's kind of... that's a common question.
Okay.
And my stance on it is generally unpopular because I kind of have a personal hardline stance about it that, that life is not mine to take.
Yeah.
No matter what the method, no matter what, the reasoning for it, like that is not my life to take. And I feel the same way about, the egg industry and, dairy and things like that. That is not for me. Like that milk was for a baby cow. And the reason that cow is making milk is because her baby was taken away.
Mm-hmm.
And so those things really resonate with me, especially as a new mom. It just really has solidified my stance on that.
And there's a lot of great milks out there that are not dairy.
Oh yeah,
Almond milk. Almond milk
is
is amazing. I've been drinking almond milk for 2 years now.
It is all the rage right now. Almond milk.
It's so good. Have you ever had it?
Yeah, it is pretty good.
See, I like different milks for different purposes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because rice milk is a little bit thinner and it's not doesn't have the same consistency, but it makes horchata.
Yeah.
And horchata, everybody loves horchata.
So becoming vegan though, is it solely because of treatment of animals, or do you have other reasonings like health, or just because I know a lot of people say different things about it, why they became vegan?
Yeah, for me, I have to say that the leading reason, like the predominant, absolute reason for me not turning back was the animals.
Okay.
Because especially now, as I've gotten older, I went to college, and I got my degree in global health and public health, and I learned a ton about animal agriculture and how that impacts our humanity. Because all of these things are very much intertwined.
True.
Our health, the health of the planet, the health of animals, like they're all part of the same system.
Now, do you think everybody should at least look into being vegan or
I think
vegetarian?
Everyone should eat less meat.
Okay.
Overall.
So I like that. You're being honest. You're not saying don't eat meat anymore. Obviously, because some people
personally, I would love if the world was vegan.
but you're not trying to insist that people see your way
not at all.
And I think so many times.
Not practical.
Yeah, and I think so many times people, especially in the vegan industry and or the non-vegan industry, is always afraid of, they're vegan, they're going to try to convert me. They're always going to tell me, hey, how come you're eating meat? How come, or are you one of those vegans who can sit with people who are eating a steak?
Yeah.
And so, see, I like that because a lot of people I've met are like, no, they're animals. You can't do that.
So
that's probably what you're thinking now.
you're right on. So, I'm the only vegan in my family. I'm the only vegan in my...
Your husband?
Well, my husband is now, but he wasn't when we first started dating.
Yeah.
He wasn't even vegetarian then.
So you had a lot of work to do on him.
No, he's a vegan now. He's been a vegan for 4 years.
Okay.
But, no, I will... My heart doesn't break. My heart breaks every time I see meat on a plate. Just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that sounds so like hippie cliche, but it really is true like that. It hurts my heart to see an animal on a plate, but I'm not going to judge because everybody is where they are.
Yeah.
And it's not for me to say what your path is or what anybody else's path is.
Do you also believe that some people, they might need that meat in their system?
No, not at all.
Do you believe on the eating based on your blood type?
No, that's totally a fad.
Okay. I recently just heard about it.
As a nutritionist, yes, that is totally a fad.
I just recently just heard about that, so I never before heard of eat based on your blood type. I don't know what my blood type is, so.
It sells books.
Okay.
Yeah, it's probably...
It's more of a marketing tool.
Absolutely. So I actually have read up on the blood type diets, and my blood type is O positive.
Okay.
And I should be eating dairy and meat and very few green vegetables.
Very few? I don't see how any diet that's not green vegetables should be in everybody's diet.
Right, but in moderation is what it says.
Okay.
Because, I have a hard time breaking it down or something based on my blood type, which
that doesn't really make sense.
That doesn't make sense to me at all.
So obviously just not true.
Yeah. There's part of it is founded in science, but very little of it is based in fact.
Now, do you grow your own vegetables? And
I do have a garden.
Nice.
I have been gardening for a few years now. With varied success.
Okay, it's Arizona, man. The weather out here is very.
Yeah.
I'm trying to grow broccoli right now and
Broccoli's
lettuce. It is very
Broccoli and
tough.
lettuce is very tough.
It looks
to
like
grow.
it's dead. It might be dead. I'm not really sure yet.
It sounds like my bougainvillea. I
Well-
don't know how you kill a bougainvillea, but I managed to. But no, my gardens have actually gone pretty well, and
That's awesome.
I think most of it is because I'm just like, meh, whatever.
Yeah, just throw it out there, throw some water on
throw
there.
some seeds in there and see what grows.
That's now. If you're a new vegan, what kind of advice can you give to people who are interested in taking on this challenge of being a vegan? Because being a vegan is different. I mean, you have regular meat eaters, and you have vegetarians, you have pescatarians, you have vegans, and then raw vegans, which I follow some people on Instagram who are raw vegans, which I applaud them because I've wanted to try it, but I don't know how long it'll last.
See, raw vegan, because you're not cooking the food, well, it's almost impossible to be 100% raw, but they do like, kind of a spectrum of raw, where most people aim for like 75% raw. And the trouble with that is that it often takes a lot of time to prepare foods because there's so many ingredients. So that's kind of why I have stayed away from it, because I don't have that kind of time.
I think it's expensive.
It can.
Yeah, that's what I was going to touch on. A lot of people kind of say they don't go vegan because it's expensive. And is that kind of true, or is it?
If you are a junk food vegan, then yes.
I was probably a junk food vegan.
Well, you already mentioned the donuts already, so...
I was
I
vegan.
want the story of the donuts.
Man, I was...
what's the deal with that?
I was vegan for 2 months. I was pescatarian for about the last 2 years, roughly. So, problem is, I couldn't stop snacking. So, I was snacking on, like, Cheetos still, and stuff like that. So, I was always a big snacker. And I wasn't a healthy snack. So, then I was like, but the fish was so good for my cholesterol. So, all the fish oils and everything. My cholesterol was doing great. I was exercising a little bit. So, I decided to try being a vegan for a while. I was like, let's try it. How hard can it be? Because I'm already a pescatarian. I don't drink regular milk. I rarely eat eggs. Dairy is not really a big part of my diet, so I could cut out dairy for the most part, like nothing. But now you have to put all those other factors into them, and you have to start reading the labels, making sure that no eggs or fish or anything was even that is in the product, because you don't realize how much your products that you eat have eggs
or milk. Sneaky milk.
Sneaky milk is true. Fruit Loops. I was like, look, Fruit Loops looks vegan. Like, look, I'm reading them. There's nothing on there. Then I Google it, and it's like, no, it's got like D3 in there or something like that. Which
D3.
And I'm like, oh, man, y'all just ruined my day. Should have never Googled it. Cause
See, D3 is not even a milk. It comes from sheep's
the
wool.
sheep's wool.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's in a lot of the cereals.
Lanolin.
Wow.
And it's in the majority of the cereals that you find on it. But I did find Captain Crunch is vegan.
It is.
Which is bomb. That cherry one, the berry.
The berry one.
Man, I ate that like the
but
family
not the berry one.
No,
I have to say I love me some peanut butter crunch.
Yeah, it's good. And I love, so I looked into that and then I tried it. But my body, I don't know if it's just I wasn't reacting to it right or something. I probably didn't know exactly what to cook and what to eat because we just kind of went into it. And I said, I'm going to do this for 30 days just as a challenge to myself. And I did lose some inches. But I also think I gained weight because I was eating a lot of
junk food.
No, not really junk food,
Snack
actually.
foods.
Like Captain Crunch. And...
No, I didn't eat that for breakfast, but I had a lot of hummus. But I would have crackers with it all the time. The vegan ones from Trader Joe's, the soy chorizo, which is bomb.
Chorizo is pretty bomb.
It's amazing.
Sounds good.
It's so good, but the problem is like when you
it's
eat,
exactly like what chorizo.
Yeah, just without all the grease and everything. Yeah. So I'm eating all this stuff, and next thing you know, I'm gaining weight. I'm like, what's going on? So it just wasn't. I didn't have anybody that kind of educate me on that.
It's kind of a misconception, though, that if you go vegan, you will lose weight.
True, because I've seen some fat vegans.
Oh yeah,
I mean, it just depends probably still what you eat because, I mean, there are still options out there.
It's
not
what
like
you eat, when you eat, how much you eat, how often you eat.
So just like a regular diet.
Just like a regular diet.
Yeah.
With
So I was not even eating too bad. I was still having my greens. I was having vegetables. I was doing fruits. But I really think it was just the time of day I was eating because I was eating early in the morning before work. and then I'd get off work at 10:30 at night, and then I'd go home and eat half of a hummus jar because I didn't want to eat soy chorizo that late or something like that.
Yeah, because
and then you go sleep on it.
Night.
Yeah, and then you sleep on it, and the next thing you know, you're like, man, why am I gaining all this weight?
Mm-hmm.
It's just carbs. It's really, you have to be careful. I
Yeah,
noticed
it
with
seems like
vegan,
it's a lot of carbs.
it's just a carb. You could go that carb route. So then I said, finally, I checked my cholesterol again, and it went up. And I knew why. And I said, well, I don't really know if I have enough time to.
Your good cholesterol or your bad cholesterol?
All my cholesterol went up except for my good cholesterol. So
that went just your bad cholesterol. Yeah. There's only two types of cholesterol. There's the HDL and the LDL.
Well, the HDL is the good cholesterol, the LDL is the bad cholesterol, but my total cholesterol went up.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're already on the statin and everything, and it shot back over 200, that's not where I want to be. So I decided to implement fish back into my diet, just because I know that, if you get the wild caught salmon, I'm a lot more happy to eat that than the farm raised. And
there's some gray area with words like wild caught.
Yeah,
free range.
It's like wild caught from the farm.
Basically, what they do is they pen part of the ocean.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they do.
And that's how they catch the fish.
Same way how they would catch the orcas and the dolphins.
Yeah, they pen part of the ocean or the lake in the case of salmon or the river, so that they can catch it.
Mm-hmm.
But so there's a lot of things that you can do. Like cholesterol is kind of like this mythical beast. The only thing that makes cholesterol are animals. So all of your cholesterol comes from animals, whether it's your own body that makes its own cholesterol or animal sources. It is impossible to get cholesterol from a plant. It does not exist.
Yeah.
They have no mechanism for
that makes sense.
So rather than adding the omegas back in, because that's really what fish oil is omega-3.
Yeah, it's omega-3s.
You'd probably have to kind of look at the rest of your diet rather than, going to that fallback on, I'm just going to boost the 3s to kind of balance out my levels, because there are ways to get omega-3s that are not animal sourced, flax seeds being the number one. Because, for one little seed, they have so much omegas.
Man,
it's
just
unbelievable.
Just be careful not to pour half the bag in the smoothie.
Oh, no, it would be so crunchy.
Yeah, and other
unless you have a Vitamix, that thing will pulverize pennies.
Yeah,
but
there's other side effects.
There's other side effects.
I learned that real quick.
Flax milk is a really good way of getting your omegas. It's kind of like rice milk as far as consistency.
So maybe good for like smoothies
tasty.
or something like that. I don't know if I could just drink a cup of it.
Or even hemp milk.
Heard of hemp milk? Haven't tried it.
Super tasty. It's like really thick though.
Oh.
So it's more like, I would maybe say it's in between like 2% and whole milk. So if there were like a 3% milk, it would be that consistency.
That would be that consistency.
Yeah.
It's funny because when I before I even became pescatarian, I used to drink whole milk. Then I went to 2%. Then I went to 1%. Then I just went to almond. And I was like, I slowly was getting out of that dairy. That dairy, in my opinion, it makes me bloated. It's just not.
It's so addictive.
It is addictive though. It has a good taste to it.
Yeah, it's not even taste. It's actually biologically addictive.
Oh, wow.
That's why baby cows drink it.
Oh, okay. Well, I was able to kick it.
Yeah. Well, it took me 10 years to kick the milk habit because it's actually like a pervasive addiction.
And then if you add cereal to it, it's just even more, or some chocolate to it or something. Man, let's talk about let's talk about your blog. You have a veggie machete.
Yes.
.wordpress.com is your. I'm just putting it out there in case anybody wants to read it.
Yeah.
It's your vegan blog. Tell us a little bit about that. I read recently about vegans raising their children to be vegan.
Well, I have a 2.5-year-old daughter, and she is vegan. And there's a lot of controversy about that because you hear on the news that these vegan parents killing their vegan kids.
Yeah,
things like that, and that just, aside from being utterly heartbreaking, as a human being, let alone as a mother, these terrible tragedies happening. But that, I guess my goal in this life is to bring as much information out that I can, to make the vegan message exactly what it is. That even the American Dietetic Association and the American Pediatric Association They everyone says that a vegan diet is absolutely healthy for all stages of life. So I was vegan throughout my pregnancy. My daughter has never had meat in her life. She's never had dairy in her life.
Oh, wow.
And she's in the 98th percentile for height. She's taller than most 3-year-olds. And she's never been sick, although I think she has allergies, which is kind of a curse because I have allergies. But
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, he was barely able to talk this morning.
Well, that's how I feel. Like her and I have both been sneezing the last couple of days. But, you just have to plan things well.
Okay.
And
Now,
it's kind of the same thing as far as, our own diets. Like,
true.
you can't just eat whatever and expect to be healthy. And so through my blog, I like to post a lot of current events, current news stories, things like that, and kind of weigh in not only as a long time, basically a lifetime vegan, vegetarian, and but also as a nutritionist and a public health professional. It's important to me to really dispel some of the myths about veganism, about how hard or how expensive or how unhealthy it may be, and really bring it back to the science and bring it back to kind of the ethics, because, I am an ethical vegan, and I also have a nutrition and health background,
Yeah.
so I kind of have both sides. So I have that dietary side as well as the ethical side. So it's really important to me to put out in some, kind of easy to read format.
What are you open to your child ever having meat?
I am of the mind that I'm going to raise her the best way I know how until she tells me otherwise.
So one day she just comes home, like she's at school, 9 years old, and they're serving burgers, and she's like, "Mom, I had a burger today. It was bomb. I want another burger." Are you? I know it's gonna be hard. I mean,
it would be hard.
It'd be kind of heartbreaking for her, it seems like.
It would be hard, but at the same time, so again, there's that kind of divide between dietary and ethical, because it's one thing for her to want to feel included and for her to, want to be doing everything that the other kids are doing. I just talked with a woman the other day. Her toddler is in daycare, but they're vegan and nobody else is vegan, and her daughter is 3 years old, very upset that she can't have fish-shaped crackers. She can have Cheez-Its that are made that are vegan, but they're not the fish shape like her kid, like the other kids in her class. And so she's really upset.
The goldfish crackers.
Yeah, she can't have a fish-shaped cracker.
Yeah.
And things like that are really big deals to young kids.
Yeah.
The shape of your food, because it makes you feel different.
Not only that,
when
everybody else is eating it,
mm-hmm.
sometimes they just want to have it too.
Right. And so, my daughter loves animals. Like, we watch videos like National Geographic, and we were just watching yesterday, we were watching on YouTube some National Geographic about dolphins, because she has this little book.
They're amazing animals.
And she was asking what it was, because she can say the word ocean, but she didn't know what the animal was in the ocean. And so we were talking about it, and we pulled up videos, and we were watching videos on National Geographic, like underwater and all kinds of stuff, like dolphins in their natural habitats. And, she loves animals. She loves any animal that she comes across, and I never want her to lose that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But I want to also kind of bridge the gap with her as well. Like, yes, you love cats and dogs and horses and pigs and cows, but people eat them.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want her to understand that connection. And
so I always wonder then, how do veterinarians do it?
I don't know.
Because I feel like you could do both. I feel like you could still love animals, but understand that. In my opinion, if you want to eat meat, you eat meat. But you can still love animals.
But what's the difference between a dog and a pig? Pigs are actually smarter than dogs.
True.
And but they're more loyal, and they have all of the attributes that a dog has.
But a dog is a man's best friend, not a pig.
But that's cultural conditioning.
Pigs are good. The pork, the bacons. I don't eat bacon. I haven't had bacon in 2 years, but.
Well, my neighbor has a pig, and he is the cutest thing on the planet.
Are those the short ones or the bigger ones?
He's like a mid-size. He's probably, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 pounds. He was rescued from a petting zoo.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I met a pig on Friday, and he was like, I don't know, 3 or 4 months old, and already smarter than the dog in the booth next to us. Like, way more social, way more interesting, you know. So, I mean, it really just depends on where you draw the line between friend and food.
Okay.
So, you know, in some cultures they eat dogs because they don't draw that line like we do. In some cultures they eat monkeys because they don't draw that line like we do.
That's nasty.
You know, in some cultures they eat bugs because they don't draw that line the way we do.
Yeah.
So it really just depends on kind of your cultural background and where you draw the line between friend and food.
True. Okay. I you know.
It's a whole different way. I've never looked at it, you know.
So you eat a lot of meat, right?
Yeah.
And we used to eat a lot of meat.
Yeah.
We used to, you know, eat a lot of meat. We used to go to Pete's all the time, get the fried fish or the fake fried fish, probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, we used to eat a lot of meat back in the hamburgers.
But I think it's a lot that you've never, at least coming from my perspective, like you've never thought of it that way. Like you've never pictured it like that, because it's just, you know, you just grow up and that's everybody does it. Kind of you're saying with your daughter, everybody does it. You never think about it. You know, you see animals. You know, I'm not against animals or anything, but it never really hits you until, you know, kind of nowadays. You know, I'm kind of like, oh, like I kind of see what people are saying, but I guess some people, you know, you go your whole life really never putting any thought to it.
And a lot of people never make that connection that this animal had a family, like this animal had parents.
Yeah.
You know, they were once living in the forest and, you know, frolicking and romping, and all of a sudden they're bow hunted. You know, like, because, you know, we're mainly talking about kind of like the industrialized animals like pigs, cows, chickens.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's not to say that hunters, primarily trophy hunters, but, you know, people shoot wild animals.
Sure. Just for sport.
Yeah. Well, some of them do for food and for sustenance and, you know, whatnot.
Some cultures have to do that.
And that's kind of a whole different thing. But as far as, like, you know, us living in the modern world and, you know, going up to Flagstaff and, you know, going camping for a couple of days to go kill something, like,
there's no need to do it.
Yeah.
there is no need to do it. You know, my brother, who is pretty much like my exact opposite.
We should have invited him too.
He's like, I'm on an all meat diet.
But he used to be in the military, and he's a gun owner, and he's a hunter.
Yeah, well, you can't tell anybody who's been in the military to be a vegan or
that's
not
not
to
true.
go.
There's lots of military vegans. There's lots of vegans. They have a vegan MRE now.
They probably were in the Navy.
Or the Air Force.
Or the Air Force, yeah, something like that. Agriculture, something like that.
Well, the other thing you hear too is they always say, a lot of people say, like, you know, I can't become vegan because, you know, how are you going to get your protein? And I mean, I hear that a lot, and now I know there is other ways, but
black beans.
You hear that all the time, like, oh, how are you going to get protein?
You almost made me choke up my coffee because that's the number one question. Like, the number one. And, you know, back in the 90s, when, you know, I went vegetarian and vegan, everybody was like, ooh, the protein.
Yeah.
But the thing is that animals are not, like, these miraculous protein manufacturers. Like, we do not produce protein. Plants produce protein, and we eat the plants, and we absorb the protein. So the reason why animals have protein in their meat, which are their muscles, is because they eat plants.
Mm-hmm.
Makes perfect sense.
And, you know, so there are vegan bodybuilders, there are vegan athletes, there are vegan...
Prince was a vegan.
Prince, yeah.
Andre 3000's a vegan. Erica Badu's a vegan. Mm-hmm. But they're a little weird, so I explain.
There are NFL players. There are basketball players.
Rappers, Waka Flocka.
Yeah.
There's a lot of rappers nowadays who are actually going more on that plant-based diet for the longevity.
Yeah.
Because I mean, when you really think about it, red meat to me destroys me. I'm just not a fan of red meat anymore. If I smell ribs, do I sometimes get a watery mouth? Don't get me wrong, ribs are my favorite, but I won't touch them. But because I know red meat destroys me, so I don't touch any meat except fish every once or like maybe twice a week now.
Well, red meat in particular is really hard on your body.
It is.
To break down because it's so dense and it's so fibrous. It takes
Like a
astronomical. Week, right? It sometimes longer.
Oof.
It takes an enormous amount of physical and chemical energy inside of your body to break down red meat. So that's why you see a lot of people with heart disease because your heart has to work harder to pump the blood to.
I do see a lot of people
happen.
now who are cutting out a lot of red meat, or they're doing smaller portions of it.
Yeah.
They might have, I had a hot dog this week and that's it. That's all I'm going to do. A burger maybe once or twice. But I mean, there was a point where I know for me when I was younger, before I got my cholesterol checked, before I knew about my health history, I was eating burgers like daily. I would go, Carl's Jr. had that 2 for $4 Western bacon cheeseburger. I would eat both of them.
Oh, jeez.
But I didn't know anything about that. There was nothing out there for health and education. I think one thing that...
It's always been out there. It's just whether or not you've sought it out. Because, again, that comes with, your kind of cultural conditioning.
I think it's been out there, but it's never been promoted as much as well. And also with the social media, now it's been able to be promoted more.
With social media, yes.
Yeah. Because before there was no... Yeah, it won't promote it.
They do, but industry stamps it down.
Yeah.
The beef industry is a huge
whatever makes money.
Well, I feel like just health in general, there's not really, there's no education on it, and those that are educated, you don't easily get informed about health, I guess.
Well, and the thing is that science is always changing, and we're always learning new things. We're always learning new things about the human body.
Sure. We're
always learning about the environment. We're always learning about things, and so people are like, "Oh, I don't know what to do." It's changing every 6 months. I don't know anymore. I'm just going to do what I'm going to do.
True. Well, and also the news tells you one day coffee's bad, the next day it's going to give you cancer. And then the next day they're telling you if you eat this type of vegetable, your hair's going to fall out faster. But if you
I think that's what happened.
Yeah. Mine was just stress. So I mean, it's just that's a crazy aspect. But I do believe that the education is out there a lot more.
Yeah, and the industry really they make it their mission to stamp out any real discussion. So like the food pyramid and the My Plate and all of those things, those are heavily industry funded. And so instead of saying less meat, how about add more vegetables? So it's all in the wording. It's all in how they spin it. But really the basis for a healthy diet, no matter what diet it is that it's diverse as far as, plants and seeds and nuts and beans and legumes and all these things. You want to have a very vast, diverse diet with a variety of foods, a variety of colors of foods, and you'll have a healthy diet regardless of what you eat.
Yeah.
From a nutrition and a public health perspective, no matter what, and everything in moderation. If you're eating a burger a day or 2 burgers a day for years, of course you're going to have high cholesterol. Of course you're going to have heart problems. Of course you're going to have, a higher potential for cancer and diabetes and all these other long-term chronic illnesses that can really impact the rest of your life and the length of your life and the quality of your life.
True.
But, for me, being a vegan is obviously beyond diet. But being a vegan, it's kind of been my personal mission to learn about food. And not many people take that mission on. And if they do, they don't really take it seriously because they follow this fad or that fad or what Dr. Oz says or
Netflix documentaries and all that.
Some of those Netflix documentaries are fantastic.
Yeah, they are.
I watch most of them.
Some of them are great. Just like any documentary, there's always a certain element of truth to it and also some BS put in there as well. But let's talk about, you have a restaurant, a vegan store that you're opening up with your husband. I went to the website, veggierebellion.com, and it's not 100% open yet, or are you still in work in progress? What's kind of the...
we put in an offer on a retail space last week, and we're waiting to hear. We've been on pins and needles for a few days now.
Okay.
But we should hear sometime next week about whether or not we can open our storefront. In the meantime, we've been doing pop-up markets at farmers markets.
Nice.
And like Zen Nights and the Glendale Farmers Market, because we are looking to open in the West Valley, which is unusual and everybody thinks we're crazy, but it's kind of like Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come.
Yeah.
I think is it going to be cheaper than Whole Foods?
Well, so the thing about Whole Foods is that they have built their brand on being, you know, the premier, the elite, the, you know, whatever. They're not a neighborhood grocery store.
Yeah.
No.
They've never
marketed
themselves
it, yeah.
as such. Like
They're very pricey. They call it a whole check.
Whole paycheck, yeah.
Yeah, whole check.
Whole check.
You get like a vegan pizza for like $50. Yeah.
But you know, really, it's going to, our pricing will boil down to how many people shop there.
Okay.
Because the volume pricing, we get cheaper prices. So if it costs us less to buy it, it'll cost you
Are you
less
going to
to
also
buy
work
it.
with like local organic farmers?
We are looking at, you know, offering everything that we can. So we basically want like a one-stop vegan shop. So, you know, we want personal hair, you know, care products like hair and face and skin.
Nice.
You know, we want to be able to have pet food, and we want to have, you know, people food and junk food and plant foods.
Now, being a vegan restaurant, there's obviously going to be some vegetarians that come in there. Mm-hmm. Are you able to cater to them as well?
If you mean offering them
sometimes some of the things they like,
dairy things, then probably not. We are very much hardlined on the fact that we are going to be 100% vegan.
Okay,
so
and
everything
that's
in the store
unique and it's different,
great.
and there's very few vegan restaurants out there like that. I mean,
it makes sense
because
because a lot of people too that might be on the line of becoming vegan or not is usually because they don't know where to shop.
Exactly.
Now, if it's just one shop where anything you buy in there is vegan,
right.
It makes it easy. So you might even convert a lot more people.
True. I mean,
that's our goal, is to be able to walk into a place and not have to read labels. My husband and I, we sort of jokingly say that we're opening a grocery store so we have a place to shop. That's kind of the joke between us. But
I mean, you do have to read every label.
You do. Even the things that say vegan on them.
Oh, you still have to read them, yeah.
Sometimes, yeah, because
they're not 100% vegan.
Some of them have honey, because honey is one of those gray areas.
Yeah, and sugar too, right? Sugar is a kind of a gray area as well.
Yeah, sugar is kind of a gray area too, because depending on how the sugar is processed, you know, there's a couple of, like, vitamin D is another gray area. Sulfites are another gray area.
Well, you know, just sorry, I'm blanking out for a second. You know, can you give any advice to anybody who wants to go ahead and become a vegan? What are some of your final thoughts on?
My final thoughts on becoming vegan. Veganism is easier than you think. It is as easy as you want to make it. It doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to be complicated. Yes, you have to have a little bit of education and read labels, but once you get in the habit of that, it's like clockwork, because no matter what, whenever I go grocery shopping, I read labels just instinctively. Even if it's stuff that I buy before, because they can always change their formulations or they can always change their ingredients. You know, whenever I see new and improved, that like triggers me to, I better read the ingredients now. But really, it's not hard, and it doesn't have to be a whole paycheck. It doesn't have to be so expensive. It's just when you start buying like vegan junk foods and, you know, getting away from plants and getting more into like the fake meats and the, you know, like the mock cheeses and all of those kind of things. Like, that's where it starts getting expensive, because you're basically trying to translate the same thing as you ate before, but just in a vegan version.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be pricey.
It will be.
But really, those are kind of my two takeaways, is that it's not hard and it doesn't have to be expensive.
And maybe start slow.
Start slow, for sure.
Plus, it really won't be hard if they go to your store. So
yeah.
It'll be really easy.
Yes, please come to my store.
You're going to have to let us know where your location is once you get that all done.
Yeah, for sure. We are on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, and Veggie Rebellion is all over the interwebs. And of course, you know, we're going to have announcements in the vegan groups locally here, and, you know, on our website and all on our social media. So we're hoping to open by the end of the year.
All right. Well, we thank you for coming by, Sandy. And once again, her website is veggiemachete.wordpress.com for her blog, and veggierebellion.com is the website of the vegan store. Thank you very much. And
Awesome. Thank you guys
we
for
hope
having
to,
me so much.
hope to check it out.